Fiji over Tonga, 29 points to 19 at Eden Park. Pretty good game. I'm glad I watched this one. I was kind of deciding on Thursday and Friday whether I should do a video on the France-Italy game or the Fiji-Tonga game. I'm pretty glad I went with this one, although I saw part of that game as well, but it was nice to watch this game. It certainly had its moments. A bit of magic, a bit of set-piece play, a bit of foul play. So it had a bit of everything. Interestingly, a lot of people were saying in the lead up to this game that it would be almost like an away game for the Fijians based on how many Tongan fans would be in the crowd. Not sure if Eden Park just is too big and doesn't do the crowd justice, because I know when the Tongan Rugby League team played, I think this year or last year, it was like a sea of red, they called it, but it didn't seem to happen this time. I mean, the crowd seemed pretty decent for a neutral venue where the home team's not playing, and they certainly sounded loud. But I mean, maybe the camera just didn't do it justice. But the crowd didn't look all that big. The commentator seemed to think it was better, so maybe being at the ground it would show up a bit better. But I also think maybe because New Zealand's playing Tonga next week, maybe a lot of people would rather go to that game instead if they were, choosing between the two. So that could be a factor as well. Anyway, the game, it actually starts pretty quickly out of the blocks with a try for Tonga. Siali Piatau gets a try. Fiji really just failed to do a proper exit from the start of the game, and Takalua put in a good pass, so it was 7-zip early to the Tongans. On 8 minutes, it's all Tonga. They got all the possession, all the territory, and then they suddenly, I think it was like an offload that went loose. Randradra is the guy who gets it. He gets it to Tuisova, and they just go length of the field, kind of against the run of play, but that is the Fijian thing, is they can score from absolutely anywhere, and they make it 7-all. So that was kind of one of the interesting things about this game, is that even when the Fijians were 5 meters out from their own goal line, you kind of never know. Is it the Tongans that are about to score, or is it the Fijians? Because the Fijian guys are just that good from broken play. 12 minutes, Tonga turn down 3 points. They go for a touch. The line-out isn't straight. A few minutes later, I think it's like 15 minutes, again, they turn down 3 points. They kick for touch. They get the line-out fine. And then they knock it on. And at that point, they're at 90% territory, so they're all over Fiji in terms of the possession and territory. 19 minutes, third time lucky, they get a line out more going, and now Amo, the hooker, gets the try. Their maul was a thing of beauty in this game, the Tongans, and it was working very effectively. It's not the only try they got from that maul. The conversion hits the post, so it's 12 points to 7. The Tongans back in front. But 23 minutes, Gonova. Again, it's from turnover ball. They get the ball wide really quickly. They score an unconverted try to make it 12 apiece. And that's just the Fijian thing, is they had 2 chances and pretty much got 2 tries. They'd only really hardly touched the ball, and they had 2 tries. They kept popping up on the screen how many minutes each side had been in the other one's 22, and the Tongan were in the Fijian 22 like 4 or 5 minutes early, and the Fijians were in the matter of seconds, and yet they'd scored the same amount of points. It's just a thing. 32 minutes, Tonga, they knock it on, and the knock-ons were a feature of their game, which they'll look to cut out before the Rugby World Cup. Not far from the Fijian line. 36 minutes, Tonga concede a penalty after keeping a kick in play. So there's a kick that's going for touch. The Tongan guys keep it in play, but the ball's controlled by nobody. So it's kept in the field of play, but none of the Tongan guys have got the ball. And then the Fijians go on the attack, and Tongans concede a penalty. And eventually it's Kunatani who gets a try out wide. I think they had advantage, but he gets a try out wide. It was Lamani with a huge pass. Again, they missed the conversion, but it goes in 17-12 at halftime. Mafi also went off just before halftime, and I saw him in a sling at the end of the game, which is a bit concerning for Tonga. But yeah, halftime, you'd say the Fijians were way down on possession, down on territory, down on time in 22, all that kind of stuff. But the Fijians were ahead on the scoreboard, which is the one that counts. So it was kind of a crazy game. Second half, you feel like the Fijians had a bit more of the ball. I think overall the Tonga still had like 70% possession, but it was a little bit more balanced in that second half. Second half, Tonga's scrum gets on top, but when they kick for touch after winning a penalty there, it doesn't go out. So again, kind of small unforced errors that you'd rather make now than at World Cup time, I guess. Wangani Burotu, who I desperately didn't want to score a try, so I wouldn't have to say his name, but he was everywhere, so I kind of have to. He scored a try. Fijians go 8 phases, they're 5 meters out. He just has a good run and just hits the line at pace and goes over for the try. And at that time, I think Vetokani switches to taking the conversions ahead of Vola because he's not having the best night with the boot. So 24-12, the Fijians go ahead. 49 minutes, the Tongans get a try disallowed. It's Lolohea on the left wing. It's from turnover ball on the Fijians, so it's the other way around. It's the Tongans doing a Fiji on the Fijians. They're in the Fijians 22. It's a long pass over to Lolohea. He has to do a step, but he manages it and he goes over for the try. But in the lead up, they look for a bit of foul play and they judge that there was a high shot on Tawaki. So yeah, they go back for a penalty against Tonga. It was a pretty harsh one because I forget which guy it was. The Tongan tackler was just standing there waiting to tackle, and the guy just tucks his head in and just runs straight into his shoulder. So it's almost like the guy head-butted him with his head against the shoulder. But I mean, I guess that's just the way the rules work. So yeah, there was shoulder contact to the head, which is undeniable, but it's just the way it happened. It's one of those ones where you look at it and go, that's pretty harsh. But either way, it was just a penalty, which was sensible, but it's unfortunate that the try got chalked off, especially given that scoreline. But Tawaki didn't go off for an HIA, but he was subbed pretty much immediately after. So hopefully he's all good because he was down for a little while. 54 minutes, Vetokani misses a penalty that I feel like he should have got. It would have put the scoreline out to 3 scores. It was a relatively straightforward kick, and if there's one thing, if you're looking at the World Cup at both these sides and saying, man, you guys it would be in your best interest to get this thing right. For the Fijians, it's probably the goal kicking because Vola and Vetokani didn't have the greatest success with the boot. And if they're going to get a win over a team like Australia or Wales in that pool, it'd certainly be beneficial to get every point you can. We know they can score tries, but can they kick those pressure kicks? It's a question mark with Australia as well, to be fair. Wales probably a bit higher in the reliability stakes with the goal kicking, but either way, it's not a strength of the Fijians in this game, so it's something to work on. 55 minutes, Sam Matavesi gets a try. It's a little line-out move, which is an interesting one to show off before a World Cup because people will be looking at that and doing some analysis of it. But it was a nice little move back to the hooker. It was down on the sideline. Again, they missed the kick, which is what I'm talking about. It's 29 points to 12. Looking very comfortable at that point, but Tonga weren't to be finished off. 61 minutes, Tonga gets a more try. It's Sakalia who gets the try, so it's the other hooker, and yeah, that Tonga maul was looking really slick. That is one area where they looked really dangerous. I mean, apart from the fact that they dominated position and territory, their maul looks class. They were able to get the backs in there as well. They got the conversion to make it 29-19. That was the final scoreline, but there was still 20 minutes to go. Bit of handbags 10 minutes later. A couple of guys got yellow carded. It wasn't the first time for the handbags either, so both sides were feeling into the game, I guess. Vaipulu took a swing and a miss, and also Yato retaliated. So both the number 8s got yellow carded. Credit to the guys, though. They shook hands just before they both got carded. So, yeah, that's good to see. Fiji in 75 minutes had great goal line defence to hold the Tongans out. But can you imagine if that 49th minute Lolohea try had been awarded and the scoreline is like 5 or 7 points closer, then that would have been a real pressure situation. But I guess the Fijians certainly showed their defence is up to a pretty high standard in this game. Even if they conceded some tries, especially at the maul, 2 of them went to the maul. Other teams will take note of that for sure. But yeah, I thought overall they did pretty well. Both sides good, but I mean, the Tongans, it's the handling errors that were really costly. As I said, their maul was good. The Fijians, as I said, they can score from anywhere, but their goal kicking's not great. Their maul defense wasn't the best. Tongans' maul really good. But yeah, overall, pretty exciting game. Crowd was noisy, like I said. It's just on the camera, it didn't seem to be all that full. But yeah. Thank you to the guys who sent me the advice on Fijian name pronunciation as well. If there's any other further pronunciation tips for either side's players, do let me know, because I'm always looking to improve that area of myself. What did you guys think of this game? How well do you think these sides are prepared for the Rugby World Cup? How do you think Tonga's going to go next week against the All Blacks? That should be an interesting game. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.